Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time, and we are so lucky we're going to sneak in a fourth topic with Mr. Jason Pritchard. How you doing today?
We're on a roll today, man. I'm doing great. Zuber, how
That's
are
great.
you?
So at the end of video number 2, you let the world know that you and your lovely wife Jennifer will be in Bali the next couple of weeks. You actually leave today,
Yeah.
which is awesome. And just given our first 3 conversations talking about high income skills and recessions and just all this great stuff, I just had to ask, do you believe in work-life balance? Are you just kind of like go all
I
in on
don't,
one thing, or what's going
yeah.
on?
So here's what I think about that. I think that's a very loaded topic, right? And I think people have their own definition of what work-life balance is. And so I believe in defining what work-life balance means to you. I think that is
Hmm.
step number one. Okay.
Okay.
You cannot just allow society's definition or somebody else's definition and then apply that towards your life. Because for me, if you look at the amount of time that I spend doing real estate stuff, I mean, it's tipped, the scale's tipped way over here. Like I spend a ton of hours doing it,
Hmm.
but I'm very clear on the things that fulfill me in my personal life, right? And I'm very clear on the things that do not fulfill me. So what I don't do is I don't waste any time doing the things that don't fulfill me. And then the time that I'm spending away from real estate, it is 100% focused and locked in on the things that do that. And for me, you brought up the trip that we're doing. Travel has been one of the most important things to keeping a healthy marriage with my wife. For whatever reason, we operate great when we're on trips and we're on vacations and we do these things. And we figured out a way to leverage our business to do it in a way where we can travel on points and different things like that. And so we just have been very intentional. And we said a long time ago, basically once a quarter, we want to take a trip somewhere because that charges our marriage, it charges our personal life and those type of things, right? And so I think in order to find success with work-life balance, you have to determine what that means to you first and then create a plan to get there, right? And I think if you can do that, then you can get there. But I don't believe in 50% work, 50% personal life. That to me, at least for me, does not exist, right? I think if you want to achieve anything at a very high level, right? And you're going to perform at a high level, you got to be laser focused and almost obsessed, borderline obsessive with whatever that thing is, right? And I do, people are going to see me on this trip in the next couple of weeks, right? And then they're going to just assume it's like, oh, wow, it's great. Your team's just running all of these things. But, I'll be plugged in and doing some work when I'm out there because I enjoy it, not because I have to. Right. I genuinely enjoy it. Nobody's going to dictate to me if I want to do 3 days without checking in. I can do that. But I just love what we're doing so much that, I built a business that supports the kind of life that I want to live. And that's a very important thing too, right? I think most people, say, let's just build the business out and then we'll deal with what kind of life I want to live afterwards. And then the business ends up cannibalizing all the things that they want to do in their real life. And they just never get a chance to do it because it sucks all their time and energy. So you have to be careful and really clear about what you define work-life balance to be, and then go from there.
Yeah, one of the things that I admire most is that you and Jennifer are clear that you want to take a trip every 90 days. And
Yeah.
again, I've been following you forever, and I see it. I see
Yeah.
what you guys are doing. When did that light bulb go off that, you need this, I'll call it me time or we time, kind of out of Fresno, right? You had to go somewhere with your wife to kind of recharge, because
We
not
were,
always.
yeah, no, we always leverage rewards and points even before I ever got into real estate. And I'll give Jennifer all the credit for that because I was never smart about like our spending. And even, people always ask me, like, man, you guys travel and you go to all these cool places and blah, 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 blah. And we rack up a ton of points through our business. But before it was just, we would just be intentional about every expense that we had that we would normally pay with cash or a debit card, our groceries, our gas, our whatever, anything like that. We would just funnel it through a rewards program, pay it off at the end of every month. And then, you don't rack up 100,000 points a month doing that. But at the end of the year, you have enough to take a trip. And so we always took a trip somewhere at least once a year. Right.
Okay.
So it was always like, my 2 weeks of vacation that I would get on my corporate job, at least at one of those weeks, we would go travel somewhere with her. And we knew very early on that, that travel was something that really fulfilled us, right? And it helped our marriage and it helped all the things that we just got done talking about, right? And so as we started to become more successful in business, it was like, society says you get 2 weeks off. So maybe you take one trip a year. And then as the business started to take off, I was like, why should we just stop at one trip a year? Right? What would happen if we said we wanted to take a trip a quarter? Can we get to a space where we can do that? And we started to do that. And, things just continue to get better. And so we found like, hey, this is really something that has to be a priority for us. And so the important thing for everybody is it doesn't need to be travel, guys. You just need to figure out what that thing is for you. You know what I mean? I have friends, Jennifer and I are empty nesters now. Our kids are both older and we're not here. So we have this time, right? But I've got friends that, have young kids and they're in sports and they're in different things and they're stuck in a cubicle and they can't go to their kid's game at 3 because their job won't let them, right? So you've got to be clear about what you want to do. So maybe it's coaching your kid's team and taking them to all their travel ball events or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It can be whatever it is. You just have to get clarity first on what it is that are those important things and then build a plan on how you can start implementing those things.
So one more topic on the work-life balance. How much of this was you figuring it out versus you, Jennifer, talking and kind of coming to it together?
I think it's a combination of both. I think in order to have a healthy, successful marriage and relationship, there's got to be a lot of communication about this stuff. If I was just kind of flying solo, just flying by the seat of my pants, making all these big decisions without counseling or incorporating my wife into those, we would not be where we're at today. So you talk about this and this didn't click with me as much until I read your first book. And you have this, section of that book where you talk about how important it was for you and Olivia to be on the same page. And I look back and I kind of just reviewed our marriage and our relationship. And we took a very, very similar approach. And I would say that I agree with that 100%. If you're married and your spouse is not on board with these things, it's very, very unlikely that you're going to get to where you want to go. You have to get in alignment with them first. And so there was a lot of talk between me and her. And then, I'm kind of the doer in our relationship. It's like, okay, here's the game plan. Let's do it. And then it's like, let me out of the gates and let's go get after it. I'm very good at following a plan. Once I have a plan and steps that I can follow, I can go and get after it. And so I think that was it.
So let's also celebrate Jennifer a little bit. She's now retired, right? It's kind of stepped out.
Her last official day was Friday. It's Sunday today when we're recording this video. So Friday was her last official day.
She's retired.
So yes, so it's interesting. They offered her essentially like this part-time role where she can consult and work on special projects where she wants. So it's this perfect transition for her, where she can continue to get the things that she wants out of her job without having to be at the school site every single day. It's great for me because I definitely need the help in our business. Our business has grown significantly over the last few years. And so having her involved, I think is very helpful. And so, it's going to be this interesting, this next year is going to be a really cool and fun transition, I think, for both of us. I think we get to do a lot of the things. This has been always a big why for me, Zuber, right? I think we always, when we have big, humongous goals, we have to attach them to whys, because those big whys are the things that actually get us through the very difficult times, right? And one of the big whys for me is Jennifer believed in me more than I believed in myself, frankly, at the beginning. And she was the one that was pushing me, and she was fine with maxing out the credit cards and cashing in my retirement and taking a second mortgage out on our house. And there was a lot of risk involved in what we were doing at the beginning. And so for me, I always wanted to be able to be successful enough to be able to put her in a position where she could decide to work if she wanted to, right? And if she didn't want to continue to do this anymore, I didn't want her to feel like she had to do it, right? Because we were living off of her income for the first year or two while I was kind of getting my feet underneath me in the real estate business. And then, we've been very fortunate that business has done very well. And now we're at the space where she can make that decision, and it makes me feel really good. It's a big checking off one of those things for me, makes me feel great as a husband, as a provider, and as a businessman. It's one of those things we've been working really hard for over the last 7 or 8 years. Thank you.
Well, I actually look forward to seeing what you two come back with. I imagine one of the things you're going to be talking about maybe as soon as you get on the plane or when you're in Bali is, all right, Jen, what do you want to do next?
Yeah, this timing of this trip, man, and the way that things just kind of work out, it's always perfect timing. And so we have this opportunity now to really kind of create what the vision for the next 8 to 10 years is going to look like, right? I do feel like this is bookending a chapter in our life, right? And now we're turning the page to something new. And,
That's
this is
awesome.
something that we've never experienced before. And it starts with creating everything for me starts with creating very clear, specific goals and then reverse
Yeah.
engineering a plan on how to get to those goals. Right. And now our goals are going to be different because she's going to have, more involvement in the business. She's going to have more time in her personal life so she can pursue hobbies and different things that she wants to do. And then figuring out what that looks and feels like will be fun.
That is so awesome. Well, I look forward to following it because I know you'll be putting it all on IG. What is
Yeah, that's right.
what's your page?
Just search my name, guys. Jason Pritchard on any of the big platforms. Instagram and Facebook is where I'm most active. And if you have any questions or anything that I can help out with, feel free to reach out and I will be a resource if I can, guys.
Awesome. Thanks, buddy. Enjoy the trip.
Thank you.